So I just finished reading 2 random manga that just leapt out of my plan to read list at me, and I did not expect them to be this emotional or this generally wise about life issues. They're very introspective experiences, I feel like, and it really presents the issues in a way that I haven't seen done often in anime and manga before. So I wanted to share them with you. They're both 8.5s out of 10. I just wanted to get that out there because I had a good time with these, and I hope that some of you here can take some time and read them because they are pretty short. So the first manga is titled I Had That Same Dream Again, and I didn't realize this until finishing it, but it's actually from the same author as I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, and that's pretty popular. A lot of people like that one. I actually reviewed that alongside with the light novel in the same video. It's about this young girl who is so innocent and cute and charismatic and friendly, but the innocent factor here is really the cohesive element that ties everything together because she's becoming more emotionally aware. She's at that stage in life where she understands that things are more complex than they seem, but at the same time, she can't comprehend the true complexities of life because she is so young. So she's got a class project about writing about what happiness means to her. And she's got other classmates. I think she's in like elementary school, so she is at the cusp of having this emotional, like, awakening, I guess you could say, and understanding more things about the world. And she's got classmates that aren't quite at that level yet, where they're like, oh, happiness means to me that it's when my parents buy me chocolates and things like that. But for her, she's having difficulty answering that question. But through her investigation and through her thoughts about what happiness means to her, she goes around and she meets these people who are older than her. But because she's so young, they don't expect that she'd be able to understand their suffering, and there are elements to their lives that we don't really see, but they are kind of alluded to, and it's really foreshadowing about these characters. Because we, the reader, are a little bit older, we're able to understand the depths, and we're able to read between the lines and understand the things that these people are going through. So it's just as much of an experience of what's on the page as what's going on in your mind. So even though the manga is so short, these subtle elements and the foreshadowing really build up to this experience that's far greater than just the sum of its parts. And as things go on, things aren't exactly what it seems, but I won't say anything more there because there are things that not only she realizes as the protagonist, but also that we realize as the reader, not necessarily within the narrative, but about the narrative as a whole. And I know that's really vague, but there are elements to it that I was surprised by and just stricken by, like, emotionally. So it's definitely something you gotta check out, especially if you are a big fan of I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. So the next manga is titled Mada Ikiteru, aka Still Alive. Now this, just like the previous manga, I didn't look up anything until finishing, but I didn't realize that it was from such a well-renowned mangaka. This guy goes back a long time. In fact, when I was doing all the 1960s videos, there were some of his manga adaptations that I wanted to watch, but I couldn't find. Like, I was watching random episodes raw. So the story is about an older Japanese guy who loses everything in the beginning. He loses his job because he's not good with computers. He loses his family, like his wife leaves him, his children leave him, and his wife takes all of his money out of the bank account. He's left with nothing. He's left with less than nothing because he's middle-aged and his health is in decline. And he just feels like there's no direction left for him in life. There's no more chances for him and his life is over. So he goes to the forest to hang himself. It actually doesn't work out. The branch snaps and he feels like because of this, he's just like, screw it all. I'm done with this. I'm going to the woods to live. And some of the happiest times in his life was when he was a child, when he was in the country or the mountains or whatever, and when he was with his I think it was either his parents or his grandparents and learning these old techniques of survival. So this was a time for him to use that knowledge and, just have a new life for himself. But at the same time, there are added complications because it's not easy to compete with nature, especially when you have had a sedentary lifestyle and you're middle-aged and, you're living in the city. But because of that and because of his knowledge, he starts to gain a new appreciation for life. And it's not just him, too. Surprisingly, there are other characters here. Even though it's only 2 volumes long, there are other characters who are very well written, I think, and have a lot of detail and backstory to them too, and they do develop. There's a lot of character development here. I really enjoyed some of the introspective elements here because he's in the middle of the forest and he's thinking back about all these different times in his life, and it's really interesting to see because the mangaka is an older guy, so he's got that old wisdom here, not just about the survival stuff, but also about social elements and familial elements too. There are certain things about it that I wasn't expecting to happen, and a lot of times I think people might think that a story about a guy in the woods is just going to go a certain way, but it actually goes in different ways. And I think if you are interested in that type of story about a man in the wilderness, but you're kind of tired of it playing out the same way, definitely read this because there are different things that happen here. This was something that I was sorting through the list, trying to find titles that were shorter, that I could just read just for personal enjoyment, and I found 2 that blew me away that I needed to make a video about. So anyways, I hope I inspired you to check these out because I had a great time with them, and I'll see you soon with another video.